What is monopoly and how does it affect us? Hi there, it's Luigi and welcome to Catapult Capitalism, your guide in making smart financial moves for your future. If you enjoy watching our videos, feel free to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get updated whenever we upload a new video. Have you ever wondered what a monopoly is? Or maybe you've come across that certain board game but don't know how to play it. In today's video, we are going to share with you what monopoly is and how it affects us. What is monopoly? Monopoly is a market structure defined by a single vendor offering a market-exclusive product. The seller has no competition in a monopoly market since he is the single vendor of products with no close replacement. In a monopoly market, factors such as government licensing, resource ownership, copyright and patent, and a high beginning cost make one entity the exclusive supplier of a commodity. All of these characteristics make it difficult for additional suppliers to enter the market. Monopolies also have access to information that other merchants do not. Because of the characteristics of a monopoly market, the single seller is both the market controller and the price maker. He has the authority to establish the price for his items. COVID-19 has exposed societal cracks that have been growing for decades. While the fortunes of the few have reached historic heights, average worker incomes have not risen, leaving many Americans with little cushion to soften the impact of the current downturn. Too many rural and urban regions have been ignored by economic prospects, leaving them lacking essential amenities such as grocery shops and hospitals. This epidemic has further worsened the racial inequities that have long disadvantaged people of color. Meanwhile, our political process has been so hampered by entrenched interests that it is unable to respond to even the most serious threats, such as the new coronavirus or the climate problem. Many factors contribute to these long-standing patterns, including American workers' weak bargaining power, government budgets that insist on austerity for regular people while lavishing subsidies on the wealthy, a flawed tax system, and a long history of racial segregation and persecution. But there is one factor in particular that has deeply affected all of these processes, as well as every sector of our economy. Corporate power concentration. Corporate concentration has reached levels not seen since the years preceding the Great Depression, when industrial monopolies dominated the American landscape and economy. In the previous decade, we have lost 65,000 small independent stores. Walmart accounts for 1 out of every $4 spent on food in the United States, and it accounts for more than half of grocery sales in 43 metropolitan areas. Over the previous 10 years, 1 out of every 3 local banks has closed, leaving 1/3 of U.S. counties without a local banking institution. All of this financial power has transferred to Wall Street, where 4 large banks control more than $7 trillion in assets, or 41% of the total assets of the U.S. banking sector. 85% of cattle processing is controlled by 4 massive meat-packing businesses. 2 telecommunication companies dominate internet access. Even the beer we drink is monopolized. 3 businesses produce astounding 3/4 of the beer Americans consume. Meanwhile, Amazon, Google, and Facebook have emerged as formidable internet gatekeepers, controlling an increasing proportion of our commerce, news, and information. Approximately 2,000 counties today have no daily newspapers, owing in part to Google and Facebook's appropriation of digital ad money connected to content read on their platforms, but created by failing media businesses. State and local authorities, as well as their constituents, are on the front lines of issues produced by excessive concentration, such as a lack of good employment, overpriced prescription medications, and failing farms. What are the impacts of monopoly? Small businesses are undermined by monopoly power. In most industries, small firms are fast decreasing, while the number of new enterprises launched each year has dropped dramatically. The issue is not that small enterprises are unable to compete, it is that big companies are muscling them out and in the process ruining the economic vibrancy of many towns, aided by laws that skew the playing field. Monopoly power harms working people. Employer power concentration squeezes employees from all sides. According to research, one of the main reasons wages haven't grown in recent decades is because sectors are now controlled by a handful of businesses with disproportionate authority to determine salaries and little competition for employees. Concentration has also lowered the number of genuine jobs by 13%, leading many individuals to rely on side jobs. Monopoly power promotes racial inequality. Monopoly collaborates with systemic racism to erect obstacles against communities of color while taking income from them. Banking consolidation has denied Black and Latinx company owners of financing while increasing interest rates on those who do acquire loans. Because of supermarket industry consolidation and the rise of dollar store chains, impoverished communities of color have limited access to fresh, healthy food. The dominance of incumbent telecom monopolies is fueling a digital gap in which many Black and Latinx households lack access to fast, inexpensive internet. Monopoly power fails consumers. Because of corporate concentration, Americans are paying more and receiving less. The United States has some of the world's highest broadband internet pricing, yet tens of millions of people live in areas with just one provider to pick from. Drugstore consolidation is driving up prescription medicine prices while leaving many cities and communities with closed pharmacies. Furthermore, the market power of investor-owned utilities has raised rates and hampered consumers' ability to transition to renewable energy. Monopoly power kills innovation. Studies demonstrate that sectors with a dynamic mix of large and small enterprises produce innovative goods and processes at a quicker pace than those with only a few major organizations. Amazon, Facebook, and Google in particular have slowed the once rapid rate of technological progress by acquiring smaller competitors before they become serious threats. Monopoly power makes our economy fragile. COVID-19 has highlighted the fragility of our centralized supply chains and how sensitive we are to shortages. Meat production is so centralized that interruptions caused by COVID at a few massive slaughterhouses resulted in meat shortages in shops across the country, while ranchers had nowhere to transport their animals. Hospital mergers have contributed to a shortage of hospitals in rural regions, as well as a nationwide loss in hospital beds, leaving the United States short of vital capacity. Monopoly power destabilizes communities. According to research, small businesses are essential to healthy communities. Communities of all types are losing their sense of social connectivity and collective agency when locally owned enterprises close down. For example, industrial agriculture has harmed rural communities and is associated with increased crime and deteriorating social cohesiveness. When mega retailers like Walmart dominate the local economy, civic involvement and social capital suffer. Monopoly power blocks climate progress. Electric utility monopolies are preventing communities from developing sustainable energy initiatives that minimize pollution. At the same time, they are investing ratepayers' money in expensive and polluting energy sources that benefit stockholders. Waste companies have also damaged our recycling systems in order to safeguard their profitable landfills, which are a significant source of methane. Furthermore, businesses generally locate these harmful locations near people with the least ability to fight, mainly disadvantaged populations, often African Americans. Why do we continue this kind of market structure if it entails many negative impacts? Monopolies are often regarded to be bad for everyone except stockholders in monopolistic corporations. However, there are a few perks that might benefit everyone in a monopolistic industry. Price stability. There are no price wars to shake markets when there is no competition. Other enterprises and end-user consumers who do business with a dominant company may benefit from pricing certainty. The ability to grow. Monopolies can result in significant economies of scale. A corporation with a monopoly on a certain type of product may be able to manufacture large quantities of that product at reduced per-unit prices. Depending on the company's ethics, the inexpensive costs may be passed on to the consumer. Research and development budgets. A monopoly that is confident in its market position is more likely to spend on research and development. This can result in new goods and increased production efficiency that will benefit customers in the long run. As an example, consider the pharmaceutical sector. The worlds of macroeconomics and microeconomics are as large as the oceans. There are 1,000 factors that go into making a market viable and productive. Some nations thrive in a monopolistic economy, while others struggle at the core. Either way, nobody wants only one type of something, right? Imagine spending the rest of your life watching only Marvel movies, drinking only Pepsi, and eating only Subway. And that's it for today's video. If you enjoyed it, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. Thank you so much for tuning in to Catapult Capitalism, and we'll see you later.